Hi guys, it's Maddie. This is a video that I have been wanting to make for years. And if you're coming to my channel from, I don't even know how to start this. Okay. It's really overwhelming. And I may forget some things, so I'll like type them out and put them in comments or in the description, because the idea, I keep being like, I need to make notes for this video, and the idea of that is even overwhelming, and I'll kind of get into that. So if you guys are just subscribers of my channel, just came across me, hey, I am 27 weeks pregnant, so if you're like, wow, she's shaped weird, no, I'm very pregnant. My thoughts are so jumbled. If you're just a subscriber or just someone coming across my channel, I was sexually abused for 5 years as a child, and I ended up being on a Crime Watch Daily episode that did air on national television and is on their YouTube currently. I'm not gonna link it. I don't know why, that just doesn't sit right with me. So his name was Sean Foster. They actually spelled my name wrong in the clips and stuff. So his name's Sean Foster, and you can look up Crime Watch Daily, Sean Foster, and yeah. I think it's like, you'll see it. My dad, you'll find me. But I see, sometimes I go and I look at the comments, and I'm not really going to go into why. Sometimes I just do. Sometimes I won't do it for like a year, and then sometimes I go look. And there are things that I would like to address. Just a lot of things, like questions that people have had, all of that, and just so many things. I have so many thoughts and so many things to say about being on that, and just assumptions people have made about it, and every single thing. So we're just going to talk about some of that stuff, and you know, maybe this can clear up things for some people. And I've never really done an update on my story, on how I'm doing. I mean, I've kind of talked about how I'm doing, I've talked about mental health on my channel, but I have never fully addressed, like I just say, I was sexually abused for 5 years. So you can go watch that and come back, or I can kind of explain it to you here. I was molested, so I was not raped. I'm not comfortable graphically describing what happened to me. Up until about 2 years ago, I didn't even tell my parents everything that happened, so it's very difficult for me to talk about some parts of it. So that's, I guess the first thing is that some people, there was this guy in the comments recently that was just like, he got 85 years, but 30 are going to be served concurrently. Basically, he got 55 years. And this dude was like, all he did was touch her butt and look at her in the shower, and he shouldn't have gotten 85 or 55 years for that, whatever. And some people argue that he got too long. I didn't decide how long he got. He was offered a 20-year plea bargain. But even some people are like, that's too long. Let me tell you, I did not come up with the punishment. I simply told them what happened to me, and they came up with that. Different people that are in charge of sentencing, whether it was the jury, judges, whatever, during the plea bargains, all that, okay, lawyers, all that. All I did was tell what happened to me. So if someone got that long, I think you can assume that there was maybe multiple kinds of abuse going on. Maybe the sexual abuse was the worst part, but there was also, like, food was withheld from me. Like, a lot of bad things happened that I'm not comfortable going into. And still I'm not comfortable going into, even when it comes to me being molested. So I will say, yes, I've been molested. I was sexually abused for 5 years. Jacob knows, my family fully knows for the most part. So Jacob's my boyfriend, pregnant with his kid. So, you know, if Jacob has questions and all that, I'm more than willing to answer his questions. Everyone else on the internet, that's something very personal. So I'm not going to share that. Another thing is, people are like, how is she so calm talking about this? I will be real with you in that in between filming, I did cry a lot. It was difficult to talk about. Sean liked to make me cry, And so I did not want to cry while telling my story, even though, did he see it? Probably not. However, I don't like this, because I love watching Crime Watch Daily. I love watching their episodes. I watch them all the time while cleaning, and everyone reacts differently to trauma, to different things. There are people that get on and they're talking about a deceased loved one, like someone that was kidnapped, their child being kidnapped, and they're sobbing the whole time. There's people that aren't, and there's people that, you're not seeing what happens in between takes, number one, and number two, everyone handles trauma and grief differently. And so for people to say she's not reacting in a way that, so I don't believe her, or the way she's talking about it makes me whatever. I did the best that I could. So there's that. A lot of people also come down on me for saying, I did say like a lot. I did say, oh my God. I was very uncomfortable talking about this. It was very difficult. Again, also, I was 16, guys. Have y'all met a 16-year-old in real life? Because I swear to God, some of the people that watched that show had never met a 16-year-old in real life. People also don't realize that was posted a long time ago. I am now 21 years old, so it has been a minute since that was posted. So yeah, I have also seen comments about people saying, like, she's being re-victimized just so her family can make money. They shouldn't have let her be on here. They should have blurred her face and changed her voice, all that. First of all, we did not get any financial compensation from this. Crime Watch Daily does not pay the people that are on their show. Also, my family has never received money from Sean. He had to pay, I don't remember how much it was, to the state, but we have never made a dime from my abuse, either from Sean, from the TV show, from anything. So I just want to clear that up. I do end up talking about how much, that my parents have spent so much money, but this is not a cash grab. We've never made anything. So that's not the way that works. So I want to clear that up. I don't know if they've maybe paid people in the past and that's where you're getting that from. We did not receive any compensation in any way. I highly doubt that Crime Watch Daily has ever paid people to be on their show, because then you would technically be like a paid actor, and I think it would ruin the integrity of stories. If they were paying people, even if it wasn't a lot, there would be a lot of people willing to lie, people willing to embellish their stories, or just completely make things up to be on Crime Watch Daily. And they are a TV show based in facts. I know that Chris Hansen has gotten a lot of flack recently for a lot of things, and he does have a lot to do with that channel. He was not a part of my story except for at the very end when it aired on national TV, talking about one legal part of the case. So yeah, but it would make sense that they can't pay the people that are on their show, because otherwise it would be an incentive. Does that make sense? I really don't think Dr. Phil pays his guests, Steve Wilkos, these people don't get paid. That just doesn't make sense. Okay, before I went on here, my parents, I kept pushing, I want to tell my story. Court didn't give me closure. I want closure somehow. I was in the Daily Beast, I think their newspaper online, but I kept pushing, I want to tell my story. And no cameras were allowed in the courtroom, none of that. They weren't allowed to use my name in the local newspaper, whatever. So, I wouldn't have wanted that because court was so traumatic. I was the one pushing for it. My parents explained to me, hey, this is going to be out there forever. Are you sure this is what you want? You're going to receive hate for this. Are you sure this is what you want? And I decided yes. Once we were contacted by them, I think it was a couple months before they even came out and filmed me. And at any point I could have backed out, and I chose not to. So they said that they got my dad's permission to interview me. That is true, but I was also fully aware of what I was doing and the possible consequences of that. I was aware. My parents did not push me to do this, and we asked my siblings if they wanted to be a part of it, and they said no. So my two siblings were not a part of that. And that was completely their choice. So if my parents would have been pushing this or forcing me, you would think that they also would have forced my siblings. Now, my siblings were not abused, but they were also affected. So I think that kind of shows like I wasn't coerced or pushed or anything like that. Something that really gets me is the people that comment on my looks, either good or bad. And what I mean by this is I've seen comments like, wow, this is so sad because she's so pretty. It would be sad even if you didn't think I was pretty. Or people that are like, I've seen a couple comments that are like, I laugh, but this is so messed up. People that are like, I can see why he abused her. I was 9 when it started, and it doesn't matter how cute or beautiful you think a 9-year-old girl is. If you want to put your hands on her, you need help. So yes, I was 16 in the video. I've also seen comments about my boobs. Yeah, I have big boobs. Okay, that's not why I got on national TV. That's not what I was doing. If I wanted comments about my body, I would have gone on like America's Next Top Model or something. But like, no. I don't want to be a model, and I'm too short and fat anyway, so. And then the people that are like, she's so ugly. And a lot of people had comments to make about like my mom having braces. I had braces at the time. And like I've seen comments like, oh, they got the money to finally get their teeth fixed and just all that. And my parents had to pay, first of all, the braces comments, okay, we got braces. Like, if we were wearing glasses, would you be coming down on us? Like, what the fuck? Were we supposed to take them off to film? And I also want to say that my parents have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on co-pays for therapy. I've gone inpatient twice. I was in a program that was state funded, but my parents made too much, so they had to pay completely out of pocket. And Sean completely wrecked a mattress that I had at the time. Like, my parents have spent an ungodly amount of money. So for y'all to be like, oh, this is their payout or this is whatever. No, that is not correct. Another thing is people think that he was in my bed. My sister and I shared a room. If you watch the video, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. My sister and I shared a room, and he was in my sister's bed. So I just wanted to clear that up. Him ruining my mattress was a different day. My mom was home, and he took a nap on my bed and wrecked it because he was a big guy. Another comment. This one just, like, fucks me. Like, excuse my language. This fucks me. Like, this, I don't understand this. This gets me, like, what the fuck? The people that are like, this is why you lock the bathroom door. Okay, I don't know about y'all's house. Maybe y'all have like fingerprint locks. It's very fancy. Not in my house. We had ones that could be unlocked with a butter knife. Okay, number one. Number two, I shared a room with my sister. My teenage sister, we're a year and a half apart. We're still freakishly close. If COVID wasn't a thing and Jacob was cool with it, I would totally let her be there for the birth of my daughter. And we've talked, even if COVID did clear up, we want it to just be the two of us. But like, if she really wanted to and Jacob was cool with it, I'd be like, yeah, watch the kid fly out of my vag. Like, we are so close. And also, at one point, the 5 of us were living in a house where there was only 1.5 bathrooms. So if you were showering, you just left the door unlocked. That way people could come in and brush their teeth or go to the bathroom. And that's just how we operated. You knock, but you get stuff done, okay? And with Elizabeth, again, I could be in the shower and she would be doing her hair. If you have a sister that's close in age to you, I'm sure y'all know what I'm talking about. These people must not. So I did not lock the door. Even if I did, you could easily unlock it. Even if I left the door wide the fuck open, that makes him coming in wrong still. And this is what gets me. It's because the victim blaming. She should have locked the door. No, he should not have come into my room or my bedroom. My room or the bathroom, excuse me. Y'all want to know something? I don't lock the doors to my house where I live now. I don't lock the doors. And if someone comes into my house, they're going to get shot. And that's not, you came into somewhere where you don't belong. So did Sean. That does not, I could have been door wide open, that does not mean he gets to come in and look at me. And that is something that just like, why are we focused on the fact that I didn't lock the door? Okay, like no. Another thing that I didn't touch on, that I want to talk about, but this is going to be like hard to explain, so bear with me. I see comments sometimes that are like, oh my God, she's scarred for life. She's wrecked for life. She is going to need so much help and she's never going to be the same. And like comments like that. Okay. I get what you're saying. And most of the time, I really don't think that these people are trying to be ugly. I don't like these comments though, for a couple of reasons. One, if other victims watch this, I don't want them to feel doomed. I was also so thankful to have an amazing support system and receive years of therapy and medications that were monitored, like things that some people can only dream of. And I am fully aware of that. My parents were willing to spend the money. They were willing to spend the time, the effort. They were willing to put in the work for me. And I will always be appreciative. Do you want to say hello? Okay. I will always be thankful for that. However, there were times on that journey of healing that I felt doomed. I felt trapped. I felt like I was scarred for life, like I was wrecked, like I was never going to be lovable, like I was never going to be the same. I felt all of those things. And so those comments don't really hurt me. And they also, I want to tell you, in my case, at this point in my life, you're wrong. I don't think I'm wrecked for life. I am still lovable. I am still capable of loving other people. I am a lot stronger because of this. And I could make a whole video on how being abused affected me as a person and all the therapy I went through. I mean, everything. I could make a whole nother video on that. But I just want to touch on this and just say, like, I hope I'm making sense, first of all. But and I won't say that this doesn't affect me now. There are times, yes, where it affects me, where I'll have certain nightmares or all of that. I no longer have PTSD, but I do still have anxiety and depression. And, so there are times it affects me. However, more often than not, I mean, it maybe affects me once a month, if that. I'm living my best life. I'm happy. I'm expecting. I have amazing animals. I have an amazing man in my life. My family is wonderful. And so I am not like, I'm happy, but I was abused for those 5 years. That's not the case. And even recently, when I say recently, I think within the past year, I was telling my mom some of my favorite memories from the Waco house, like things that I really enjoyed, fun things I remember, funny stories. And that was a time that we never really talk about because it's kind of plagued by that. Like this dark cloud kind of hangs over that, if you know what I mean. And so I was telling, and I was like, do you remember when we used to do this? Because my siblings and I did have a lot of fun. And we didn't have a lot of money, so my parents had to get creative on things to do with us. And we recently had to put down a dog, and Max, and we'd had him for 14 years, and he was with us in that house. And so I was just bringing up these things that I just enjoyed, and we hadn't talked about the time in that house in forever, like ever, I don't think. And my mom was like, I'm so glad that you do have happy memories from that time. So like, yes, I was being abused, but even during that time, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, it was great all the time. No, but I did struggle with a lot of things during that time, but there was still good times. So in all of this, I'm trying to say, if you are someone that's been abused in any way, or you're struggling with something, you are not unworthy of love. You're not wrecked. You're not whatever people say. You maybe need some work, but I think most of us need work. No one's perfect. There are things that all of us can improve on. So there's that. And I think that the people that make the comments that I'm talking about are trying to have like almost sympathy maybe, or just be like, wow, like this must have affected her, whatever. And you're right. However, I am okay, and that's something that I really want to stress. I did not tell my story for y'all to be like, oh, there's another wrecked person. Like, no, I told my story as a cautionary tale, as a story of hope, and that is what I want it to be taken as. Okay, rant over. Okay, another thing that wrecks me, just fucking pisses me off. The people that blame my parents, that just come down so hard on my parents. So let me say a few things here. I have so many things to say about this. And also the people that are like, Waco, Texas is bad. This is why you don't move to Waco. Okay, I have so much to say here, and I hope that I remember to say it all. So, otherwise you might see clips of editing me. Okay, number one. If you are lucky to have never been abused or know someone close to you that has been abused, I am going to invite you to get on the internet, please, and look up pedophilia and grooming. Grown-ups are manipulated by other grown-ups. Do you know how easy it is for a trusted adult to manipulate a child? So easy. There is a lot of manipulation, mind games. There is so much. I wholeheartedly believed that my parents knew what Sean was doing to me the whole time it was happening. There were threats made against my siblings and my parents, and I felt like it was my job to protect them. There is so much that goes so into that. Look up the psychology of it, please. It's kind of like how battered women will stay in a relationship, but it's way worse because it's a child. And as a child, you can't just up and leave your situation. You can't. So I believed my situation, my parents knew, and there was nothing I could do. Even if I didn't believe that they knew, it is so scary to tell. It is so difficult to tell. Okay? So I want to say that. Also, when people are like, I don't get why she didn't tell her parents. I don't get why she didn't tell someone. I don't get why he touched me. I think that's what we need to focus on instead of why didn't she tell. We need to focus on why is a grown man touching a child? Why is any grown-up touching children in a sexual manner? Not why aren't children telling. My parents talked about things that ended up catching their attention, red flags, whatever. There were things that were red flags looking back that weren't at the time. So we perfectly put it all together for you, and you're like, how the fuck would they not see that? Sean also manipulated my parents. And I love the people that are like, I would never leave my children with a stranger. Okay, we had known him for over 3 months. When you invite a teenage girl over to babysit your kids, how long have you known her? Or hire a nanny? When you send your children to school, because guess what? Teachers molest kids sometimes. When you send your children to school, how long have you known their teacher? And you're leaving your children with them for what, 8 hours a day? We were left with him for a couple hours after school. Not even every day. If someone wants to hurt your child, they're going to. Biological parents molest their own children. So that is just not, when they're like, I blame the parents completely. My parents did not molest me. So the correct person is in prison. My parents did not face charges because they did not abuse me, and they were not found to have been neglectful. If they had known about what was happening and were still sending me over there, there may have been a case of neglect. There should have been if that was the case. My parents did not know. Sean was a really good manipulator. These people are. And another thing I see is people focusing on a single man with no kids. I would never. Okay. Women do it too. Married women do it. Pedophiles look very different. And another thing I want to throw out there is like 9 out of 10 kids know their abuser. So it's not Joe Schmo down the street that's going to hurt your kid. It's someone they know and are close to. So y'all coming down on my parents, it's someone that's close to the family. He did not touch me for 3 months and then all of a sudden was. That is how that works, okay? And again, y'all can be like, I'm the best parent, it would never happen. And honestly, I hope it doesn't, because it's earth shattering. And my parents feel bad enough, I promise you. And that just is not necessary. To have that negativity and to put it on my parents is just not needed. They were also victims, in a sense, of manipulation, of being blindsided. I mean, we have all had to recover from this, not just me. My whole family has had to recover from this. So your harsh words, I'm the only one that goes and reads the comments on these. And so my parents will never see that. And I will never tell them about it. But I just want to defend them. And people are like, oh, when I defend them sometimes in comments, you're so brainwashed by your parents. I'm 21. I haven't lived at home since I was 18. And, if I've had space from them, I've lived 30 minutes from them. That's not that far, but I was in school. I was working 48 hours a week. I was a full-time student. I didn't have time to be in communication with my parents. I get to set up how our relationship looks, and I love my parents dearly. There are lots of parents that are busy. There are lots of parents that overlook things. The best thing you can do as a parent is communicate with your child. My parents did talk to me, though. If someone is going to hurt your child, the best thing you can hope for is that they come tell you right after it happens. You cannot keep them home with you their whole life. And so it sucks. And I hate to be the person to be like, bad things may happen, but they do. We see this all the time. People get into car accidents. Perfectly healthy young people keel over and die sometimes. Tragic things happen. And please do research on how to talk to your child and the best ways to protect them, because it is not keeping them from the world. If your creep radar goes off, great, protect them. And if your child doesn't like someone, listen. That doesn't mean you completely oh, you're a bad person, my kid doesn't like you. No, because there were other people that I just didn't like sometimes. That means you don't leave your child alone with them. But again, people are like, I would never leave my child alone with someone. You do. I promise that you do not spend 24/7 with your child, even if you are a stay-at-home parent. The way some of these parents talk about or people talk, I'm assuming some of them are parents, about how they parent or how they would have handled the situation, sounds like you have a very unhealthy relationship with your children and the outside world. You can't bubble wrap them, okay? There are things that I will do differently when it comes to my daughter because I was abused, and things that I would do differently than my parents, 100%. Wouldn't we all do things differently than our parents, though? So that's my whole spiel on the parent blaming. I don't think it's necessary. It's not helpful. Again, my parents are never going to see it. And don't you think that they feel bad enough? Just gonna put that out there. Don't you think that they hurt knowing this happened? And when it affects me, when I have a hard time, when they had to take me to an inpatient hospital because I wanted to kill myself, don't you think that was hard enough for them? I do. I think that they've been through enough, and they still continue to be here for me when I need them. So I would like y'all to just take a step back. No parent is perfect. No one is perfect. I'm not perfect. And I get that some of y'all are the perfect Pinterest mom, and that is fantastic. I also think there's such a thing as being too overconfident as a parent. So I hope that you're not crossing that line. Okay? Okay. That's my talk for today on that. I've seen a lot of people that are like, her dad probably wouldn't have faced charges, or I'm so glad that her dad didn't kill him because he got to go home to his family and all that. They had to say in that video that he may have faced charges. They had to say that you shouldn't take matters into your own hands. He wouldn't have faced charges. It would have been considered breaking and entering, especially in the state of Texas. He wouldn't have gotten in trouble. It would have been really traumatic, though, to have to move houses. My dad probably would have been arrested and put in jail, but probably not prison. And it would still have been somewhat of a gamble. So I do want to say, like, he wouldn't have faced charges, more than likely. Here's another thing that I don't think people realize. the biggest reason I asked my dad not to kill Sean is because I didn't want, my dad is a very soft person. Like, he is a very loving, kind human being. And I say soft because that's how a lot of people, like, maybe soft isn't the right word. But he is just such a kind person. And I knew that that would bother him. And I also did not want to know that my dad was a murderer. No matter what the reason, I did not want to know that my dad was capable of killing someone. Yes, he was a Marine, or former Marine. Excuse me. They said ex-Marine in the video, which a lot of people have commented on as well. But yes, he was a former Marine. He was never deployed. And if he would have killed people then, I just feel like it's different. My dad would have been like a murderer. And that just would have bugged me. And I don't quite know why. I didn't quite know why at the time. And, you know, I was 14 at that time. And so 14, 6, 7 years later, I still don't know why it would have bothered me so much. But I don't know. But I'm glad that he didn't kill him. It also would have been really hard, you know, to see my dad in handcuffs and all that. So, yeah. Some people are very, very kind. And I just want to say, I do see your kind comments. I do like them, and I do try to reply. Sometimes people don't realize it's me. I'm like, okay. Usually on the ugly comments, I try not to respond, but sometimes it's really difficult, especially when people say something that is just so, like, out there. Because I don't think you would ever say that to my face. I don't. And, you know, if, again, you can come on my channel and say it, but I can delete it. I do kind of wish that comments were disabled on the videos just because there's so much negativity. And if another victim ever watches that, I don't want them to feel invalidated. Or if someone who is being abused watches it, I don't want them to feel like it's their fault or they should have done things differently or whatever. It bugs me a little bit. However, but I see the kind comments. I see people that are wishing me well or that say my dad's a badass. I agree. He's in grandpa training, so I think he's going to be an amazing grandpa. My mom's also been amazing. In that video, we really focused on what my dad had done. After that point, though, there was a time that my mom completely carried our family, and I can't really get into why I say that. Because I am very open. There are people in my family that have struggled that are not as open, but my mom really held us together. This is where I'm going to leave this video. I think I covered most of the big points. I hope I didn't come off as too defensive. I'm really trying not to. And I was really trying to be kind and educational. I did get a little pissed. I know, how bad. I'm a human. If you guys have other questions, you can leave them down below. If you are disrespectful, I will just delete it. I won't even give you the time of day. If there's enough questions, I may film another video. If y'all have questions for Jacob, y'all can leave those down below as well. Or really questions for anyone or words of encouragement to me or anyone in my family. I do let my dad know when people come to my YouTube channel. I've had a couple comments about him and him being awesome, and so I do let him know about that. So yeah, also if like you're blatantly disrespectful, it's held for review anyway, like if you're cussing a lot and stuff. So, and I get notified when people comment. So if you're disrespectful, it won't be there for very long. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I do want my channel to be like a safe, positive place. Huh?
That if she doesn't.
Shut up. And I also have an Instagram. So if y'all, I'm not a therapist. That's something I've had people like find my social media and message me and be like needing psychiatric help or wanting to hurt themselves and all of that. And it puts me in a really uncomfortable position because I am not certified to help you. And also, even if I was, I'm helpless. Like, I don't have a ton of resources to give you at that point. And I have to just give them to you. I don't know you. I don't know where you are. And so that just, don't do that to me, okay? So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to follow along on my life journey and my journey to motherhood now, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.